Starmer's recent interview not only clarified his political stance, but also revealed a far more troubling reality: his total disconnection from the genuine issues faced by everyday people. He seems indifferent to his own bills and resides in a sheltered environment where the financial struggles and daily concerns of ordinary citizens are non-existent. This is truly alarming. Hear what he had to say.
5 months since you took office, you went into Downing Street. Has it been 5 months that you expected it to be? Easier, harder?
Oh, it's hard. I mean, governing is hard, and we inherited a lot of problems, an economy that was broken, NHS on its knees, and we've had to pick that up and deal with it. And I took the decision that we would take the hard decisions first. I think anybody who's turned around, I don't know, an organisation or a business will tell you, and they're right, if you're really going to turn something around, you have to do the hard yards up front. Don't look at a tough decision and then leave it for a year or two. So we're doing the tough stuff. But in the budget, which was probably the toughest, I'm really pleased that we were able to put so much money into the National Health Service, so much money into education so every child can go as far as their talent will take them, and making sure that we're ensuring that people are better off, that their pay slip is protected.
Starmer stated that the new tax policy would only impact a small group of wealthy farmers, but his comments quickly backfired. Hundreds of farmers braved the harsh cold and rain to protest. This raises a crucial question: if the tax truly affects only a few, why did so many feel compelled to stand up for their rights? The magnitude of the protest was revealing Starmer's assumptions were clearly out of touch with reality. He seemed unaware that this tax would impact not just affluent estates, but also numerous small family farms that are vital to agriculture. Despite his attempts to assure the public that only the richest would feel the effects, the protests indicated otherwise. If his claims were accurate, why didn't this policy garner support from those who actually work the land? Farmers are more than just laborers, they are custodians of tradition, persevering through unpredictable weather and rising costs. To minimize the tax's impact on their lives would not only be disrespectful but also a betrayal of those who dedicate everything to their land and the future of their families.
That's what you just said. But then there are pensioners who wouldn't say it was fair. There are farmers who wouldn't say it was fair. There are parents of private school children that wouldn't say it was fair either.
Small businessmen who wouldn't. I spoke to a friend this morning. He employs quite a few people on minimum wage. He's saying he might have to shut his business down because his national insurance now will be so high that he's going to have to shut the business down. That means people are going to lose jobs. How do you balance this? It feels like you still compete to pay Paul.
Tough.
You've got to look. You have to make decisions. At the end of the day, we inherited a broken economy.
For many elderly individuals, the loss of winter fuel support has become a significant tragedy, forcing them to make the painful choice between heating their homes and purchasing essential food. Starmer, who previously criticized others with disdain for attempting to reduce expenses, now finds himself in a similar predicament. This hypocrisy has sparked widespread discontent, particularly among those who have dedicated their lives to work and now face ongoing financial struggles. For them, it transcends mere financial concerns. It's about dignity, respect, and humane treatment. Despite his persistent calls for budget cuts, the public's response was immediate and outraged. How can someone who claims to advocate for the working class impose further hardships on those who are already suffering? British society is not merely a collection of statistics. It consists of real people with emotions and aspirations, and it does not forget feelings of betrayal. Starmer's choice to cut benefits clearly indicates that certain groups like retirees are simply not a priority for him.
I think anybody watching this who uses the NHS will know we absolutely had to make that a priority. So tough but fair decisions. But look, I wouldn't swap a single day in opposition for a day in power. It's much better to be in power to do things rather than the frustration, as I found it, in opposition for all of those long years where we were just able to say what we would do, like making an offence.
Yes, which is much easier than actually being in there.
So last time I sat on, 18 months ago, I said this is what we would do. So good to be able to come back and say, this is what I am doing.
Each new day casts increasingly ominous shadows over British farming. The loss of a farm represents more than just the end of a business. It signifies the shattering of a dream, a permanent loss. This is why the government appears unhurried to take action, overlooking crucial details and neglecting long-term planning. Rather than listening to those whose lives would be impacted by his policies, Starmer dismissed their concerns as if they were insignificant. While it's easy to claim support for the working class, it is utterly unacceptable to disregard their genuine fears and anxieties with a few thoughtless remarks. The response was immediate and intense, reflecting not only concerns about statistics but also doubts Starmer's ability to grasp the implications of his decisions. His choice to cut the winter fuel allowance was not merely another policy shift, it was a stark and painful indication of who truly matters to him. For millions of pensioners in the UK, this benefit was not just a helpful addition, it was essential support that enabled them to keep their homes warm during the frigid months when energy costs soared. Yet, despite his earlier criticisms of reducing this allowance, Starmer implemented the cuts as soon as he assumed office, leaving many feeling hopeless and in despair.
So we had to fill that black hole. At the same time, I knew we had to put money into the health service, we had to put money into our schools, and so you have to make choices. You can't do both. You can't say, I want to fix the NHS, and we won't raise a single penny of tax. Those are the things that were said for many years. They're not true, and I think they got us into the problem. So I'm not pretending for anybody impacted that things aren't tough. I don't think that's fair or right, whoever is impacted. But political choices are about saying, I do think that just at the moment we've got to pick the NHS up. We've got to get those waiting lists down. We've got to make that a priority.
Keir Starmer's popularity is plummeting rapidly, and the reasons are unmistakable. Society, disillusioned by his actions, is losing faith in his capacity to be a genuine leader. This sentiment is not merely rhetoric, it reflects the deep yearning for change among the people. His approval ratings are dropping at an alarming pace, faster than any other prime minister in recent memory. The issue lies not only in his policies but also in his complete failure to forge a genuine connection with those he is meant to represent. Starmer's responses to questions often come across as evasive and vague, suggesting a reluctance to be open, and his insistence on defending unpopular decisions only exacerbates public dissatisfaction. People desire a leader who can articulate their concerns, who is willing to make tough choices, yet is also open to feedback and willing to acknowledge mistakes. They seek someone who truly understands their struggles and aspirations. However, Starmer appears more focused on maintaining his position, disregarding the voices and needs of the populace. This goes beyond mere politics, it feels like a betrayal to those who hope for empathy and support from him. As time passes, the prospects for change diminish, leaving only disappointment and a sense of despair.
Disappointing whoever I support.
The thing is, if you make your mind up, as I have done, that we're going to do the difficult things first, then I think it's inevitable that people do feel they're difficult decisions. I mean, I understand that. But I do think in their heart of hearts, most people know if they've, as I say, turned around a business, an organisation, or even redoing your own house, you can give it a lick of paint quickly and it probably doesn't make that much difference, or you can fix the foundations. I think people understand that if you run towards the difficult decisions, to really strip it out, turn it around, then we will all feel the benefit.
While working-class families are struggling to make ends meet, sacrificing even the smallest joys and meticulously counting every penny, Keir Starmer enjoys such financial security that bills are merely a minor concern for him. This stark contrast became particularly evident when the interviewer pointed out that for most people, managing a budget and covering basic expenses is a daily challenge filled with anxiety and hardship. This underscores his complete lack of understanding of the reality faced by millions, creating a significant divide between his world and that of those who confront difficulties every day.
Are you now feeling the pressure? Because I think there's a petition that's currently
Your approval
online
ratings have dropped.
1.9 people who want the election to go again.
Million. It's now
is
over
it 2 million now?
It's now just over 2 million.
Do you feel the pressure?
Look, I remind myself that very many people didn't vote Labour at the last election. I'm not surprised that many of them want a rerun. That isn't how our system works. There will be plenty of people who didn't want us in the first place. So look, what I focus on is the decisions that I have to make every day. And it's a bit like opposition.
But surely you want us, the public, to trust you, to like you, to think he's the man for the job, he's doing what he needs to do. Your approval rating is lower than Nigel Farage's right now.
It is becoming increasingly evident that Keir Starmer lacks the trust of the British public. As the UK grapples with significant challenges, people are starting to lose confidence in the government's ability to address them. Those yearning for change and hope are beginning to question whether he can truly be the leader they need. The longer he distances himself from the public, the greater the risk of losing even the limited support he currently has. If that occurs, his leadership will face a long and difficult journey to regain trust, fraught with setbacks and challenges. Time is running out, and the prospects for change are dwindling, leaving behind a sense of hopelessness and anxiety. What are your thoughts on this video? Share your opinions in the comments, and see you later.